Hello, ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, and those who like to partake in an alcoholic adult beverage every now and then. Welcome to Cocktails and Curveballs. As always, on the panel here, we've got Lee, Patrick, and Tyler. And first thing I'd like to do though is I'd like to thank our military, both past and present, both foreign and domestic. Also like to thank our first responders, our men and women in blue, all VC firefighters, and hospital staff who are there when we need them. Thank you all. We can do what we do because you do what you do. Anyway, let's get it all started, guys. Who's got something? There's a lot going on. Who's got something?
I'd like to touch on the fights last night. You know, good fights. There's some really good fights. Covington, I thought Covington. I feel like I don't know if you guys have watched him or anybody out there that has watched him. I feel like Covington, you could definitely see the ring rust because he just wasn't. I expected him to. He just didn't do much until maybe like the last round, maybe the last two rounds. Um, and by the time the last round came around, he should have been just pulling out all stops, trying to get a 10-8 round, trying to do something because he just he was behind big time when it came to that final round. But I do like one of the reasons why Covington has so many fans. I loved it when he gets up there and he gets interviewed by Joe Rogan, and the first thing he does is what we do. Shouts out to the military and the first responders. Very first thing he does. Gives up big props to those guys. So love Covington. I would have liked to seen him put up a better fight. I think he was kind of one-sided. But, yeah, fights were good. And then Strickland and what's his name got into the fight afterwards.
Duplessis.
Yeah, did anybody else seen that fight? Did anybody watch that?
I didn't get to see the fights, guys. I was very ill last night, so I'm hoping that this right here, if I'm going to roll this back to Jimmy's, the mountains are blue, I'm going with some Coors Light to hopefully kick whatever the hell it was that I had out. But I saw the highlights, so I didn't get to see the whole card. But the Strickland Duplessis thing in the stands, number one, that looked very WWE to me. I mean, you got these guys super close together. They're getting called out. They start talking shit. Next thing you know, they're going at. I mean, that to me, being an old school wrestling fan, reminded me of that. Now, was that necessarily the case? I don't know. It was cool to watch. I felt bad for the little girl that got kind of cleared out of the middle when Strickland jumped back there and started throwing. I'm like, okay. But then at the end, I think Chuck Liddell popped out of the middle. Like,
he did. He was right in the middle of it. Yeah. 50-year-old Chuck Liddell. Yeah.
But what better for a WWE promotion than a Colby Covington fight? Like, you want to talk WWE? Colby Covington is as WWE as they come. Yeah, and I like Colby Covington. He wrestled at Oregon State. He's a very decorated grappler. A lot of respect for his game, and like you said, some of his values kind of reflect how we feel. But man, does he say some shit that you're like, oh my God, that's bad taste, bud. Like I say some bad shit, but I don't.
Well, say the thing about his dad. Think about Edward's dad.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
I'm glad there's like
that's not shit talk. That's like, it's just classless and tasteless. Like that's not smack talk.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, Ty, because I feel the same way. The shtick, if you will, is getting old.
Yeah.
I love who he supports. He feels a lot like we do. Yes, he's an incredibly accomplished wrestler in his own right, but the shtick is getting old, man, and he says shit that you guys remember when Tyson was young and he was at the top of the some of the crazy shit that Tyson would say, and
I'm gonna eat your kid,
and it's getting that way with Colby. And I wish he would just dial it down, because in the midst of all this, fellas, he's losing.
Right.
Exactly. And that's why Tyson go out there and put somebody down in the first round.
Yeah.
And he was the scariest man alive for a while, right? It's like,
and you do
even Conor
you go
McGregor,
from,
even McGregor, right? Like McGregor was winning. You know,
Right.
I think
Right,
like you can only
absolutely.
play the
I don't
heel.
know.
You can only play the heel so long and be like a guy like Colby Covington, right? Who don't pull any punches. Like he's a heel, like he's like a WWE bad guy, you know. But if he was winning, everybody would be, oh yeah, you know, I can get behind that. But the way he goes about it, and especially his track record lately, I mean, I pump the brakes a little bit, right?
Yep.
You
Well, if
bring
you're
up
going to talk
Conor
shit,
McGregor.
you better back it up, man. If you're going to be
Yeah,
shit talking like that, and you're not backing it up, you might want to dial it down a little bit, bud. You know what I mean?
You bring up Conor McGregor, and I don't know that Conor McGregor ever crossed the line like Kobe does. Like
Not
Kobe
not
does
until
all
he
the
fought
time.
Khabib. It wasn't
Right.
until him and Khabib, like that got kind of nasty. But prior to that, he was like a Muhammad Ali shit talker.
But did
Like
you get right?
Conor McGregor talks shit. Colby Covington, his deal's something different than that.
class.
He's not just talking
class.
shit.
And you know, I don't know if you guys, whoever did see the fights last night. So when they interviewed Edwards, he brought all that up. He said, you know, after he said that about my dad, you know, he said I cried. It ruined my day. That's all I thought about. I mean, you could tell that comment really affected him, man.
He threw the
that's
microphone
the
at him.
problem.
He turned and threw the microphone at Colby Covington.
Yeah, you know, and that's the problem, man. It's so there comes a point where it stops being about showmanship and you know, cameras flashing, and it starts to become super personal. And I think for whatever reason, Colby's having a hard time, or he's maybe always had a hard time. His way he's always been, but he is unable to decipher between the two. For whatever reason, he thinks it's a showmanship, or he just doesn't care. But you know, when you throw comments like he threw, and like he continues to throw, you know, man, that's you've now shifted your shit talking into super personal, man, and that's just it's not cool.
Well, and I don't know if you guys heard. I mean, even Strickland and Pimblett and some of these guys came and said, "Dude, come on," you know,
right?
Definitely, in not so many words, said you crossed the line talking about his dad and
right, absolutely, and he did.
And then at the end of the fight, I don't know if you guys heard the end of the fight when you'd be in, you know, calling the crowd "fuck you" to the crowd and
calling them fucking broke bums and broke bitches and shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's getting old, man. And like I said, if he was winning, and when he was winning, I was kind of, you know,
laughing. Yeah.
Like, right. Exactly.
You know, kind of like, okay,
winning cures a lot of ailments, man. Winning cures a lot of ailments.
Yeah, but hasn't he lost quite a few in a row now?
Yes.
He's lost three straight title. He's lost 3 straight title fights. Kamaru Usman beat him twice, and then Edwards beat him last night.
Yeah, and there was a time where he only had like one loss. He had like one loss on a really impressive record. I mean, he you know, and
he's a super accomplished fighter, dude. He's a staple in like the top 5. But
yeah,
I was rooting against him. I typically root for Colby Covington, and just, dude, I wanted to see him get his ass kicked last night. And then to come out right now, but then to come out like Jim, like you were saying, like after the fight. And now he's getting on the fans. Like, dude, like what kind of self-awareness do you have? Or like, what does that say about a person that says that kind of shit? Oh. You know, you're saying bad shit, right? Like, there's no doubt that Colby Covington's not smart enough to go like, okay, I said it, I'm going to stand behind it because that's who he is. But then to after the fight, when the fans are now like getting on him, to not go, yeah, I said some bad shit and I lost. Like, I'm just going to have to tuck my tail here and not double down.
But here's
he was not about to eat crow on that one. He wasn't going to eat crow on that one.
Here's a better question. Like, he's got nobody in his corner. He's got nobody in his corner. Pull him aside and say, dude,
you're going, what the fuck? Yeah.
I mean, you got to tone it way the fuck down, man. You know? Yeah.
But again, like you said, it'd be different if he's winning. Then, like Jim said, back then when he was winning, you kind of chuckle it
Yeah.
off a little bit,
Yeah,
you know.
tongue in cheek. Hey, really
But
quick, I just want to show you guys this.
Oh,
I'm
rum
drinking
chata,
Reese's,
good God.
rum chata peppermint bark. So that's the gift that I finally ended up with at the White Elephant party last night, which I was super stoked about because some of the other gifts, yikes.
You didn't get the one you got the previous year, Pat?
No,
That's the
I
one
didn't
thing
get-
I was sad about
I didn't
missing
get
this
any
thing.
of the adult female toys. Thank Jesus. But
They made sure a year ago that Patrick got
2
the
years in a row.
DI
2 fucking years in a row.
2 years he got the DILDO and you were
just
aboard. It was
fucking- I
funny
mean,
as shit though. It was funny.
got set up from the word
I'm
go.
sad that I missed it. I'm sad that I missed it, but there was, dude, I couldn't get off the couch. It was terrible.
Oh,
So I'm
so I'm
hoping this
drinking
Coors
this,
Light is going to bring me back.
I'm drinking this peppermint bark rum chata. Anybody out there listening, man? Pour it over ice. It's a good dinner drink. I mean, I'm drinking it for breakfast, but that's not the point. So,
Tyler, what are you
cheers.
drinking?
Just went old trusty, little hazy little thing. I'm gonna.
Nice.
I got a few lights here behind it to wash it down with, so I kept it pretty light.
Nice.
Hey, so Coors Light out of a tap is way different, right, than out of a can or a bottle.
It is
Jim, you
different.
drink tons of Coors Light, like tap
I
Coors
don't-
Light.
I
Tap
don't-
Coors
I don't
Light's weird,
particularly-
right?
Yeah, I don't particularly like it. Number
It
one,
tastes way different.
yeah, and
It's
it's
got
just
some kind of
draft
it got
beer.
some
It's
kind of
something-
like a sweet kind of taste to it that I don't like.
Well, that could be bad. That could be dirty taps. So I'd be
I-
careful with that.
Yeah.
Number one.
That's true.
Number
Yeah.
number
Better than
two.
two of them.
Number two, it's just so carbonated that I don't know. I don't know how different it is out of a bottle. Personally, I like to drink them out of a bottle. But if not, I'll drink Coors Light draft and stuff, but
It's not
I
the
can only
same.
have
But
No.
Jim, you just hit on something that every single bar, their cleanliness with their taps, with their setup, having the line sanitized and cleaning the taps every night like they're supposed to makes a world of difference in the beer that gets poured.
yeah.
And if you're going to that bar that you know ain't nobody happy that they have to work there, you know shit ain't getting clean. That's why I stick to put it in a can or a bottle, and unless I know the establishment very well, then okay, then I can trust them. But wow, some of these places, and some of them are ones that I go to. Little sketch on the tap side, you don't know what their cleanliness is like, man.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference. People can get sick off that shit.
Yep, for sure. Hey, speaking of the fights, the Royval Pantoja fight last night. What did you guys think of that?
I missed it. I didn't get to see the fights. Did you see that one, Patrick?
Yeah. I mean, I thought all the fights were really good. You know, I don't know. The fight I liked, the one I thought was the best was the I can't remember the two girls that fought. You see that one?
Was that the Lipsky girl?
Yeah. That's who
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
They just beat the shit out of each other, man. They were just, I mean, they both of them were just beat to hell at the end of the fight. I really, and they were, so it wasn't, you know, and big money shots. Like either girl probably should have knocked the other one out. They were landing those kind of bombs. But yeah, I thought that one was one of the better ones.
Well, and then I felt horrible for Mitchell. What was his name?
Oh, yeah.
Brian Mitchell. Okay,
Yeah.
a year on the shelf, and your first fight when you come back is Josh Emmett.
That's a tough draw.
That's a big. I'm kicking my promoter in the dick when I get back.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah,
finally wake up and get out of the
a tough-
hospital, I'm kicking
that's a
him in the
tough
dick
draw.
for setting me up with Josh Emmett, my first fight back after a year on the shelf.
Yeah.
Dude, that Emmett, Josh
Yeah.
Emmett is a
Right out of the gate.
artist.
Yeah.
He's
And
had a good
he-
career.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and he's just a damn beast.
Yeah.
And that shot that Mitchell took,
Oh my
you
God.
could see him almost convulsing. I mean, I
Well,
was like,
he was.
oh,
Yeah, they
Oh.
thought he was going into like a, what do you call it, a seizure. They
Shit,
thought
he was
having
like
a fucking
fucking his
seizure.
legs were like shaking and shit.
Dude, that was a bomb. Did you see that? Oh, that was a bomb. God, that would have knocked anybody out, man.
Well, yeah, and it was
nobody
dead in the
hit him,
middle of the
man.
grill. It
Yeah.
wasn't, it was dead in the middle of the grill. It wasn't
Right.
on the jaw or in the
Yeah.
temple, behind the ear, dead in the center of the grill.
But he got him coming in. Like he was coming in for a punch and got, I mean, there's no, that is the worst way to take a punch is when you are coming in and you get drilled. Man, that is
Shit.
The worst way to take a punch is just taking one. Period.
Yeah.
yeah.
In
But you
our
can get a
lines of work,
but a glancing blow is, I mean, that was just a flush. I mean, he was coming in for a punch, so his momentum coming forward and taking that shot in the
Yeah.
middle of the
It
what
was
a-
bad, but that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, this Mitchell kid, man. Before the fight even started, I said, really? This is your
Yeah.
first fight back? You really
Oh,
want
man,
to
no,
shake off
tough
the
draw.
rust with Josh Emmett? I'm like, oh,
That's a tough draw.
I got
yeah.
a question. Do you guys know? So when I was watching the highlights, because like I said, I didn't get to see the card. Pimblett, what was his story? He was out for a year injured, right? And he beat Ferguson for like the 7th consecutive loss was it Ferguson that he fought?
oh Ferguson.
Man.
Now, so tell me about. I don't know anything about Pimblett. Is he a bad mofo? Because his record seems pretty good in the UFC, or is
I don't
he
think
just
he's
kind of a
honorable.
holy shit?
He's so. I think is he undefeated? Is Pimblett undefeated?
I think in the UFC he's undefeated. Is what
He
I saw.
lost
I think
a
I'm right.
fight. He lost a fight that was in a different promotion. I think you were Julian and Rosa. They fought overseas somewhere, and we were at Dickie's eating barbecue, watching this fight, and Julian got robbed. Pimblett, I think, has been somebody who's been created with all the hype.
Okay, so I'm
and he's
manufactured.
supposed to-
That's what I needed to know.
manufactured a little bit. Like he can fight. Like don't get me wrong. He's not.
Right.
He's not capable of making a real run.
You don't get in the
But-
octagon if you're a pussy. I mean, come on. If
Yeah,
you're a wuss, you're not getting there.
But I think he's because of the way he talks and his look and all the things. Like he's marketable. Maybe is what I'm trying to get at. Like he's marketable.
So there
I
could be
think
a
it's
push on
gonna
this
be-
guy, potentially.
I just think when Tony Ferguson's not top competition, like that's
No,
Not anymore.
not
not in the last 4 years.
Right.
Probably.
You
Probably
know,
4 years
so
or
I think
better.
it'll be more telling when Pimblett starts to fight guys that are in their prime for one, and two, higher ranked and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, the guy can fight. He can fight, but
Oh, for sure.
he's
He
got
looked
a
guys, we
funny
should get
accent
into-
and shit.
He looked a lot better last night too, like with his grappling.
He
Oh,
looked
no.
in
He
good
is
shape. He
coming-
looked in good shape last
He
night.
is coming along. He is coming along, and he's just not that stand up, knock you down kind of guy. His grappling's come a long way from what I could tell. Yeah, he looked like he's coming along. So we'll see.
Some college football too.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit going on with people transferring, and that portal's going to be lit up.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
the
mean,
transfer
and we've
portal,
got bowl
like,
games.
it's changed college football forever.
Yeah.
And
it
how
has.
could you ever go away from it now?
Well, it's
You
like
can't.
it's
Van
like a
Dyke,
draft
Hurricane.
process. It's almost like a draft process.
It is. It is. That's, man,
I
that's
mean,
what makes
actually, it is because so now I don't know if you guys heard, and being a Buckeye fan, I don't know if you guys heard, but Marvin Harrison Jr. hasn't necessarily declared for the draft yet because they're talking about 20 to 25 million a year on an NIL deal, which will pay him more than a rookie contract.
right. Isn't that just
in the
insane?
NFL. Okay, so here's the new one. I don't know if you guys have heard this. Caleb Williams, USC quarterback, supposed to be number 1, top 5 pick this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Not this last Heisman, but the Heisman before, Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
They're saying so people are keeping it real hush hush around the Ohio State, whatever you want to call it. But they're saying Caleb Williams might be passing up the NFL to go get one of those $20 million contracts, NIL contracts from Ohio State.
Really?
They're saying that he is wanting to win a national championship, and he thinks if he goes to Ohio State, done deal.
He certainly can, but you know what's sad though? Because back in the day when the NIL didn't exist, and I do agree that college players should be paid. I do, because they're using their likeness, they're using their name. I get that, but the amount of money now, this has got to hurt the NFL. So at what point does the NFL go, oh, okay, so something's got to change because this is affecting the amount of talent level coming in when you might want them. You know what I mean? You might want Williams in that draft right now.
Okay, something's got to change.
That's got to be a problem, man. If you're Goodell sitting up there going, I'm the almighty NFL.
Yeah, but so what are you talking about? You talking about corruption behind the scenes that nobody sees? I mean, that's what's got to be, because there's nothing that the NFL can do to change that.
Well, but the thing is, I think it kind of pisses the NFL off, the amount of money they're getting, because now these rookie deals are going to have to go up.
I'm sure.
I mean,
how long till NFL teams are buying a college to be their minor league team?
Boom.
Yeah. This is so when you open
and going, no, motherfucker, you're coming up, you're going in. So I don't know how that would work, because of course there's a draft, right? Like you can't just have a minor league team because you got to enter the draft and all that shit. But
correct.
But
I don't know, right? Like, how is Ohio State? How could they? I'm not saying how. I don't mean how. Like they don't have the funds, but like to bring a Caleb Williams in 2025, try and bring Marvin Harrison back 2025 million, like. That's and then to pay the rest of the roster, because you're not going there without getting some kind of cash.
That's right.
Like how? So now we're talking payrolls in the fucking
now they are
NCAA in college football. We're talking what's their payroll going to be this season? It's getting
these colleges are basically a franchise now.
We've all talked about how much we like the fact that college guys are getting paid, right? Like we're all behind that. But holy fuck, like it's got to be something different than what it is, or what it looks like it's going to be.
Yeah, I agree. And we talked about it here not too long ago about Jimbo Fisher's buyout at Texas A&M. And so what was the number? 150 million?
Yeah,
for the whole coaching staff and everything?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it was right up around there. Yep.
Okay, so you can't tell me these colleges. It's crazy how much money that these programs are generating.
That's the kicker. They're not going to do that if it'll break the school. If it's going to ruin them, we can't. We're stuck with this guy. We signed him to a stupid deal.
They wouldn't do. They would be Oregon. They'd be Oregon State and Washington State looking for a home because they can't afford to shell out millions and millions and millions of dollars because of location, because of whatever the facts are. A team from Pullman, a team from Corvallis, they can't afford to be in a conference with a Texas A&M that's going flush 150 million, and then on top of that are going to have to buy a coaching staff. And then are going to try and have to buy all the players and shit. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's not college football. The way that we all grew up watching college football is no more. It's done.
Yeah,
dude. Like we've seen the last of it.
Yeah,
but
it's going to be something way different now.
And listen, have you guys heard about Caitlin Clark's deal though? This isn't just football.
Not just football.
It's not just football, but
yeah,
that's where the big dollars are. But it's not just football.
Caitlin Clark is talking. They're talking. Is she going to go into the WNBA draft? She's got another year left. She's got Gatorade, State Farm, Nike. She's got all these already endorsements, and it's like, she won't make that much in the WNBA that she's making right now at Iowa.
Well,
And oh, by the way,
but-
Patrick, versus
what do
last
you-
time, Pat, we did confirm that the WNBA players do make more than $11 an hour. We're not
Right.
sure you hit that last time, and
That's
that was
fair.
off. So it was just somebody corrected us. I just wanted to pass that along.
Well, since we're on the WNBA, can I just point out the fact, and you can fact check me on this because I've actually looked it up. Do you know that if the NBA didn't support the WNBA, okay, if the WNBA wasn't living off the coattails of the NBA, each woman in the WNBA would be paying like $116,000 a year. They would be paying that. So the WNBA, let me just say it an easier way. The WNBA loses on average $7 million a year. They lose $7 million a year. So the only way they are able to pay their players is because the NBA basically supports them every season. If it wasn't for that, they'd be upside down $7 million every single
I'd
year.
like to say I'm shocked.
so
I would like to,
anytime-
but not really. That makes sense.
So-
That's all adding up to me.
So anytime, and listen, equal pay, I'm not even going to touch that. Okay, whatever. But I'm just saying, anytime these people, these ignorant people get up there and say, well, WNBA should be making the same amount of money. You have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea. The fact of what they're
Well, it's
making.
no different than Jimmy's brought up 100 times that we all know. I'm sorry, soccer teams at this college, that you get your money from the football team. So, I mean, it's just a fact of life, man. And it's the way that business works. And the NBA is being very politically correct in supporting the WNBA.
Yeah.
I actually, listen, man, I used to go in Missoula, I'd go to Lady Grizz games, and it was awesome. And they had great fans. It sucks that they can't put more than 900 people in the stands, or
Right.
whatever it is. I feel
Right.
bad for them because they're athletes too.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, there's a reality. When you start talking economics, there's a
Right.
reality to how the world works.
So I wanted to ask Jim a question. Okay. So Jim, you're talking about Caitlin Clark and not going to WNBA because, again, they don't make a whole lot of coin. I mean, I think she should make 1,000 times more just on endorsements than she will in WNBA. But so what would she do then? Are you saying that she would just stay at Iowa and play? Is that possible?
Try and win a national championship.
Okay, but she's got 2 more years of eligibility, right?
Well, this year and next year.
Okay, so but then what after that?
Then maybe she does go to the WNBA. She wants to keep playing. I don't know. But what I know is Economics 101 says, why wouldn't you just stay at Iowa?
Right.
Make
I
the
agree.
NIL, get your endorsements, and just roll and win a national championship with that people will watch. Sorry,
Yeah.
ladies college basketball gets seen a lot more than a WNBA game.
You know what's crazy too is that they're still considered amateurs.
I know.
Really?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're not professionals.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
pretty.
which is
I
kind
mean,
of bogus.
that's name, image,
But the
likeness.
NIL,
money's coming from
the
college. Like they're getting
NIL
paid to play.
I hope everybody.
It would be
I hope
interesting
everybody
to-
realizes how important that decision was by. I want to say it was the 5th district over the Ed O'Bannon case, because that's where this all started. Was EA Sports using likely, names, likelihood, or whatever
the likeness, yep.
likeness, of players in their video games.
Right.
And it was Ed O'Bannon, who played for UCLA back then.
Oh yeah.
It was Ed O'Bannon that finally sued for this.
Yeah.
And so now it opened up to basically sponsorships, like Gatorade coming up and saying, we're going to sponsor Caitlin Clark to
Right.
be in our commercials. And,
Yep.
now
You're
we
a
can
rock
pay her.
star.
Now we can
Yeah.
pay her.
And listen, I think we all agree that I do appreciate when these collegiate players can get paid, and I do also understand. Listen, you get your schooling paid for, your education, but the fact is we sit back on the outside and we see how much money these universities make off of
Well, the
these
coaches.
players.
How about the coaches?
Man, and yes, and I'm a purist in the fact that I think, yeah, they paid for you to get an education. That was the way, back in the day. And now you see how much money these programs are generating off of these kids.
Millions.
Now you got to pay them. Now I feel bad. It's like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, give them the education, but you know what? You're making about 80 million off of that one player's likeness.
Right.
He deserves a slice of the pie.
Yeah.
So it's a slippery slope we're on, boys, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon.
Well, you know what else is a slippery slope, and not to change the subject, but the sports betting. I feel like the sports betting has completely, like, in not so many words, kind of changed the entire landscape of officiating. I mean, because
are you talking corruption? Are you talking corruption?
Well, maybe. I mean, there's nothing that I can point to prove all this, but you can't tell me. I mean, and there's been articles written about it. Analysts talk about it on ESPN, Fox Sports all the time about the sports bets and some of these just egregious calls. So there's always been bad calls in football or in any sport. Okay. But I think the last couple of years has just gotten, it's almost like WWE. It really is. Some of these calls are almost comical, in the waning moments of the game. When to me it's really obvious is when, you have a team favored by 2 touchdowns and that line is about ready to be affected. So there's just an absolute horse shit call to keep that line still intact. I mean, you can't, listen, coincidence, maybe, but it just, I feel like the sports betting, that's why it's so difficult for me to understand how they can have these professional sports in Vegas. Because you would think that the corruption would just be so tempting. I don't know, man. I just feel like the sports betting over the last, and every state you can do it now. So I just feel like that's taken sports to a kind of an ugly level, man. I don't know.
Well, it definitely makes you question, what's happening. And
Sure.
If that call was called or not called or whatever, quite frankly, I don't know what's going on with the officiating. I heard a quote really funny to me anyway, saying that what did the major league did the NFL hire all the MLB umpires to be referees now, because it just some of the
seems like it
is egregious, it just
I mean just in your face, like so incredibly obvious. I mean, you have a cornerback riding a receiver piggyback when the ball's in the air and nothing. Come on, man. I mean,
we've talked about it before on here though too. Like, there's shit that gets missed that's a no call. Just as much as there's stuff that's called that you're like, that's so ticky tacky, and it's like,
right.
I mean, I'm not trying to like disbar the point that, like, yeah, is there corruption or is there a higher interest involved? I'm not saying there isn't, but we couldn't officiate a game in real time. Like, there is human error.
Right.
And with replay and with there being everything now you can see in slow frame by frame. You can't pick that shit up in real time. And if they don't throw the flag, right? And they're like, oh, fuck, maybe I should have thrown the flag on that one, because now the world has seen it and I've seen it and I've had to look at it all week. I think there's a lot that goes into it too, that, like, it's fucking hard. I think there was a time when teams were trying to get 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and teams weren't going, I don't fuck care what the rule book says. We're going to line up in this formation. We're going to try and pound it down their throat. How much easier was officiating?
Right.
There's just so much more, I think, that goes into it, that I do believe that there are plays drawn up to get pass interference calls.
Well, absolutely.
Oh, guaranteed. 1,000%.
Because in the NFL, it's a spot foul. It's not just 15 yards,
Right. Right.
So they just bought that. So there's nobody open. They just throw the ball 60 yards down the field, and
Yep.
feet got tangled up.
So
Even though it's a piss poor play by the offense, it's not a good play. Letter of the law, right? They're like, well, I mean, was his hand on him too long? Yeah, but this was a shitty play. The defender's in a good spot. Like, yes, technically, did he hook him? Sure, he did, but that's like you're rewarding. That's all I'm saying. Like, you reward the offense for shit just because it's the letter of the law. But sometimes defense gets away with shit, Like,
but honestly, Ty, though, I think what the reason why the optics look so poorly, this is my opinion, is I think it's the key moments of the game, right?
Well, because it's magnified. It's just because it's magnified. Right. That's the only thing.
We're not talking.
It doesn't matter what sport, what game. When it's a peak moment, that's everything's magnified.
And how much harder is it for? How much harder is it for? Because you can always pick a flag up, right? Like that's an option. But to not like a no call, to not throw a flag, that gets I think that gets ridiculed. A no flag. More so than them going, okay, yeah, threw the flag, we got together, we picked it up, like,
yeah, probably.
There's nothing to see here. I think what you're getting at, Pat, on the betting part, though, is it changes how fans, people like us, that talk about this stuff, how we view what's going on, because now in the background, the Vegas lines and what's happening and how important it is to tons of people and millions, probably billions of dollars across the world, for that sake. And so it does skew your perspective a little bit. I still cross my fingers and hope they don't do it, but it sure doesn't look good.
I have a question. Probably our last before, I guess, I don't know, Jim, if you want to start wrapping this up, but just a question I wanted to get really quick is I want to ask you guys. So if you're the Raiders organization, has that stand-in coach that
Antonio Pierce?
What's that? Yeah, Antonio
Pierce.
So has he, in your opinion, season ends, has he done enough to warrant or warrant the permanent head coaching job, or are you still looking for a veteran solid coach after the season? I'd kind of like to see what you guys think about it. I mean, they have played well. They played better under Antonio Pierce than they were under McDaniels. I mean, that's
and I think that's what you have to look at when you go in when you evaluate Antonio Pierce's the job that he's done. I think you have to look at had the guys bought in, which it looks to me like they have. They're
playing hard.
They're playing hard. The 63 point drubbing of the Chargers, the Staley had already lost that locker room.
Right, of course.
The Chargers are ultra talented guys, and for them to look the way they do,
the last 20 years they've been ultra talented, though.
Right.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, last couple years for sure, but last 28 years.
LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates, Drew Brees years. Phillip Rivers had awesome years. Keenan Allen's been a staple in the league. Like, their offense and defense both finished in the top 5 one year, and they missed the playoffs.
Well, but you're talking about the good years, though, Ty. They had to be bad enough.
I mean, none of their years have been good because they fall short every year. But I'm just saying, as far as talent goes, that's it. That franchise has had talent up and down the roster for the last 20 years.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. And now they're shit canned. But do you think we're talking about Mr. Davis? Do you think he's going to be actually? I can't picture anyone that is the spawn of Al Davis going, well, this guy came in, and they're probably the team, and maybe the team was just happier in hell to get rid of McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is not going to see another. He might be a coordinator somewhere. Maybe he goes back to college for all I care. But maybe they're just happy that shit's gone, and then it may inspire them to play hard. I don't know that you just automatically award the job to this guy. I
Well,
literally
it-
don't.
you're
But
gonna
then
have
you got the
exit-
Davis factor.
You're going to have exit interviews with the players at the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely. Like they
You know,
always will.
there's
But
a lot that goes into this. With that being said, it is Mark Davis. And you know, the splash factor and
That's
all
what
that.
I was going to bring up, Jim. That's what I was going to bring up.
But let's not forget that prior to that 63-point outburst against a really shitty, just beaten Chargers team, they lost 3-0 to the Vikings
3-0.
yeah.
3-0.
the week before. So let's not pump the brakes a little bit on the Raiders and that whole organization. Personally, I like what I see out of the players under Antonio Pierce. Does that deserve a chance? Maybe, maybe not. But what I do know is Al Davis will try to make a splash.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whether it works or not, who knows? I think the first thing they need to do is figure out what the fuck they're going to do at quarterback. Do you guys remember? It was just a short time ago. The Raiders had the best offensive line in football.
Yeah. They had a really good team not so long ago, it feels like. Like when David Carr wasn't horrible, I just, man, that whole deal rubs me raw. I think David Carr got a raw deal.
Derek,
that organization just continues to make just dumb moves, man.
Is
Yeah,
Antonio
Jim's right,
Pierce
Derek.
the guy that played linebacker for the Giants?
absolutely. Yep.
Yes.
He was a hard-nosed dude. I got a question for you. How bad do the Chargers want Bill Belichick?
Oh God.
I think there's a bunch of teams that you could say that.
But
I really do.
But I'm talking about match made in heaven. This got somebody I know. We were texting the other day, and this got brought to my attention. But Bill Belichick isn't going to go to the Raiders. They've been shit for too long. He's not going to go to the Bears. He's not going to go to the Panthers. The Chargers. So Bill, just piggybacking on what I was talking about earlier. Talk about a franchise or a team that has talent that's missing like whatever ingredient that it is to get them over the fucking hump.
Chargers for the
Bill
you
Belichick.
talking Chargers for Belichick? Belichick right now, the word out of New England, he's done obviously after the season, but they're also saying that he's kind of that prima donna prick that isn't going to accept a trade so that the Patriots get some capital for him, that they're going to end up having to fire him. We'll wait and see. But if he was going to make a move, he's 71 years old. If he was going to make a move,
he's done
and
everything
wanted to
an
continue
NFL
coaching,
coach could ever want.
Correct. But if he wants to keep going to get Don Shula's win record, the Chargers would be the place he should want to go.
Well, and
9 million %.
And he'd be going in with a franchise quarterback. I mean, that matters.
Exactly.
That matters. I mean, head coaches that are sought after, that's one of the things they either go where there's a franchise quarterback or they go if a team has 2 high first-round picks, because then they can just construct that team how they want to. But I don't think there's any way Belichick is going to come back to the NFL and continue coaching, trying to get those wins with a team that is just mediocre, doesn't have a whole lot of draft capital, no franchise quarterback. He's not taking those reins, man.
He would just stay. He would stay in New England.
Yeah, Chargers have a franchise quarterback who has not been playing well. He's got a good offense. He's got a lot of talent to work with. I think Belichick would do well in San Diego.
I agree.
I'm telling you guys, watch out for the wild card in this though, Jim Harbaugh.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, okay. So has anybody else heard about what's his name, Gruden? I've heard whispers about Gruden coming back to the NFL. I mean, I think. Don't be shocked if Gruden makes a return, man.
Yeah, but God, I don't know.
I think everything now is dollars. How much money are you going to throw at somebody? Gruden would command way too much for me to take the risk on him, but that's just me.
10 years, 100 million.
Dude, he's got more money than he needs to worry about right now.
But I think he still wants to coach, though. I really think that the fire still burns. I think he really wants to come back and coach and do well and break it off in everybody else's ass. I think I'd be one to bet Gruden to do that in a second.
Well, that's why we're hoping that Jimmy becomes a D coordinator for Air Force.
Oh,
I
there we
mean,
go.
you know, I mean, that
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
cool because once a coach, always a coach, right?
Yeah,
Fucking hey,
that's
Jimmy,
right.
that should be your goal, buddy. That should be
Yeah.
your goal. Get your ass on that staff.
Nah,
Air Force.
that's way above way above my pay grade, fellas. Way above my pay
Maybe
grade.
Colorado Springs Christian Academy for blind and deaf students. Let's start there.
Right.
Well,
Let's
okay,
start right
yeah.
there.
But then,
That's-
but then once that team wins like 4 straight championships, then maybe academy. You know, I mean, you gotta.
Once that
You gotta
team
start at the
finishes
bottom,
in
Jimmy.
the
You
top
gotta start
6
at the
in their
bottom.
conference in defensive yards allowed over expected, then we can talk.
yeah.
The
Exactly
Colorado
right.
School of
Exactly
Mimes.
right.
The Colorado School of
that,
Mimes
did
is
you
down
see
there,
what
right?
that kid has done?
Which is
the
crazy. They
quarterback?
Mimes?
have a whole school about
Mimes.
right? Is that not crazy?
That
There's a
might be
whole
the corny
school in
shit. Hey,
Colorado dedicated to that.
Like, how
Fine.
many boxes can you feel your way out of? Like this,
How
I mean,
quiet is their football stadium?
probably pretty quiet. I mean, I think
It's
pretty
actually
quiet.
not as quiet as you
All
think
right.
because they've been very successful. I don't know their D2, whatever, but I'm telling you, they had a head
You
coach.
can hear
Bob
that I'm
Stitt.
saying mimes, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Mines.
Okay.
I thought you said Colorado School of Mines, which is in Golden.
No, I know I am. There's not an actual college that has maybe there is a mime college. It was a play on
I
words.
was
mean-
talking about.
I mean, just
Yeah, so was I
pulling,
kinda.
just pulling miles and miles and miles of invisible rope, man.
Yep.
Just pulling miles of invisible rope. I mean, miles of the shit.
And you get a degree in that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, why not?
Colorado
I've
School of
been-
Mines.
Yeah,
Hey,
I've
so,
obviously been at too many concerts because my hearing didn't pick that up.
yeah. No.
So
I know.
hey, anyway, guys, let's end that on that note. That's awesome, by the way. The School of Mimes, I like it.
Yeah, yeah. That's good shit
Quietest
right there.
stadium, quietest stadium on the planet.
Yeah.
On that note, let's end it. Let's do some curtain calls. Lee, what do you got?
I gotta go back to, well, I got two actually. One's real quick. I just went to, now granted I came back with a little bit of a bug, felt sick, but pick a local hot springs. I love destination, just going to local hot springs close by in the area. It's fantastic. It's super relaxing. The people are awesome. You're in a place where you can go to a local hot springs, go check it out, man, and support them. But the big one for me, same as last week, gentlemen, Junior fucking Bergen. That kid, Junior, with the Montana Grizzlies, another punt return for a touchdown. I mean, that game is so intense, and I wish more people would pay attention to FCS because the games are insane. It was a double overtime win for the Grizzlies to have the chance to go play in Frisco, Texas for a national championship. And to watch this thing come down to a double overtime, and the rules are different, man, than when you're watching Michigan and Ohio State. You know what I mean? You get a touchdown in the second overtime, you have to go for a 2-point conversion. After that, all you're doing is 2-point conversions to see if you can stop somebody. So the FCS level, I got to give them mad props, but Junior fucking Bergen, man, you're a beast amongst men. So cheers to you, brother.
Nice.
He
Well done.
tied the Big Sky record for punt returns in a career, I believe.
That's awesome.
Correct.
Hell yeah.
Correct.
Get another one in the championship game.
Agreed. Hell yeah, let's do it. Gonna be a tough road though.
What do you got, Pat?
I know I'm probably, people are getting tired of me saying it at this point in time, but I'm gonna keep saying it all year long. Got to give it up to my Oklahoma City Thunder, man. They went into Denver last night, defending champions, took them down. Shea had the game-winning 2-pointer with 0.9 seconds on the clock, beat them 118-17. Dude, we're talking about a collection of 20 and 21-year-old kids, man. I mean, these kids, and that organization has like 8 first-round draft picks over the next 4 years. I mean, this team, for those basketball fans out there, go buy your Oklahoma City Thunder jersey now. That Chet Holmgren out of I can never remember where that kid played. Gonzaga. Big 7'2" white kid, man. There he goes again last night. Had 18 points, 13 boards, 4 block shots. I mean, kid is just electric. That team is so young. I don't even think they realize they're not supposed to be this good. I don't think they care. Went into Denver last night. That's only Denver's second loss of the season at home, and this one was by the youngest team by a landslide in the NBA. I mean, the average age is like 23. It's just stupid. So
OKC going forward with all of their picks and how they've set that up, they could turn into a dynasty if they do it correctly.
They're going to be just, they got so much talent already. And you're talking now, I don't know how many first round picks over the next 4 years. Good Lord, man. Their team's going to be electric to watch. Really fun. So
great.
That's up.
Good one
for taking the champions.
All right, Ty, what do you got, buddy?
Mine goes out to a gal by the name of Erin Matson. I came across something the other day that she plays field hockey at the University of North Carolina. Her time there, her 4 years there, she won 4 national titles. She graduates, gets the head coaching job the next year. Brought him back. They won it. 5 straight. 4 as a player, 1 as a coach.
Nice.
23 years old.
I dig that. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well done.
That's incredible. I mean, it is what it is. But if that happened at any other level, at any other sport, I mean, that's something like that.
Headline news.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And shout out to Taryn Matson.
That's graduate assistant, and most sports teams, that's what you would call a graduate assistant. That may or may not ever make it in coaching. And she's at 23 years old, a head coach winning.
Got the head coach, yeah. Dude, she graduated, got the head coach job. What are you doing as the head coach? You're like,
winning national
I don't know.
championship.
You're like, I don't know. Erin pretty much runs practice. Like, she's fucking mean. You're like, trying to tell the team shit, and Erin's going,
yeah.
I got no. That's not what we're gonna do. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, hey, awesome, man. That's a great story. So mine obviously got to go to the Grizz. Going back to the national championship, haven't been there since 2009, I believe.
09, yep.
Going back to the national championship, BH is right on schedule, right on playing his boys. So yeah, the Grizz. But guys, if you have Amazon Prime, you got to check out this series called The Ride. It's about bull riding in the PBR. Anybody that has been around rodeo, anybody that knows people that actually rodeo, these fuckers are athletes, guys. These bull riders, the shit they go through. Anyway, this is about the PBR. It's about how they drafted teams, 8 teams, 5 guys ride. But there's like normally 7 to 8 guys on a team. Anyway, it was just a way to bring the popularity of bull riding back, and they've done a pretty decent job. But watch this, because it goes inside the lives of not only the riders, the bull riders themselves, but it goes like the coaches. And these coaches are guys like Michael Gaffney, Jerome Davis, legends, Hall of Famers, and they're coaching these teams. All right, with these world champions, but you got to check it out, because these guys, holy shit, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they get busted up. And when they get busted up, we're not talking about a black eye or a bump or a bruise, or we're talking about broken bones, torn muscles, shit that the doctor, actually, Tandy Freeman, he actually equates it with the accidents, the injuries you see in car accidents.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, I bet.
That these bull riders get, but they're just athletes. These fucking guys take off their shirts in the locker room after, and with all my heterosexual status intact, these are some rock solid little bastards, dude. And listen, bull riders aren't very big guys.
No, they're not. They're really not.
Not normally. No.
Just the meanest little shits on the planet. You gotta love them. So That's my
Hey,
curtain
so
call.
real quick, I'm sorry. This just brought something to my mind. Are the meanest jockeys in the world bull riders? They're like, yeah, I could ride this fucking horse, but that's pretty easy.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
got to
what-
be bull
They're
riders.
like, they're like, no,
that.
I'm gonna go ride
Saddle bronc guys,
because I'm not a
bull riders.
pussy. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I know
little.
what-
Yeah,
that's
I'm
a-
little and
yeah.
strong. They're like, I could go ride this horse around
Can we
the
do-
track. Or
can
I
we
could
do-
fucking ride a bull with one hand. Yeah, right. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, but
the
the thing
bowling
is,
ball between his legs strapped up with a noose
the thing
just to
is,
get you off.
the
Yeah.
thing is that
2,000
you'd
pound
be
pissed
surprised.
off fucking bull.
These guys aren't great horsemen. They even show that on this series. They're
They're
not
just
great
fucking
horsemen.
crazy. They're just crazy. Yeah.
They're just fucking get on a bull with one hand and let
They're
her fly.
batshit fucking crazy, man. They're like, fucking,
That's,
I want
that's
to
a
ride
hard
that bull.
pass.
I'm gonna
That
ride
is
that
a
fucking
hard
bull.
pass.
Hard
I've got
pass.
better shit to do, man. I got
Yep,
better shit
no
to do.
shit.
No, thank you.
Hey, quick,
But, hey-
quick, late belated birthday to the Majestic Lion curtain call too. So happy
Yeah.
belated, brother.
Happy belated.
Happy
Hell yeah.
70th.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh, getting there.
70-ish. What? No,
Getting there.
hell no. All right,
Good.
gentlemen, good job.
So hey, I appreciate it, guys. Hey, anybody out there wants to correspond with us, you can catch us on Gmail, Cocktails and Curveballs, Instagram and Facebook, and check us out on Spotify. Driving down the road or at work, and you got a radio on that you can pick up some podcasts. We're on Spotify, so pick us up there. Comments are always welcome. Criticism always welcome. And but anyway, appreciate it. Thanks everybody for being here. Gentlemen, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.